What's going on, everyone? So the Portland Trailblazers had themselves quite the draft. They obviously got Scoot Henderson, which could be the franchise cornerstone for many, many years to come. This is a guy that many believed was the second best player, and many believed that if it wasn't for Victor Wembanyama, he was locked to go number one, which he very well might have, right? If let's say Victor Wembanyama wasn't in this draft, San Antonio Spurs very likely take Scoot Henderson. The Charlotte Hornets, a lot of people were like, why did he take Brandon Miller? That was just more fit rather than probably just going with the best player. But Scoot Henderson is an absolute dog and a guy that very well could be just dominating for the Portland Trailblazers for the foreseeable future. And then also they were able to get Chris Murray, who, if he can be anything like Keegan Murray for the Sacramento Kings, then they got a really good pick, a really good steal. A lot of people had Chris going in like the teens, and Portland was able to get him at the 23 pick. 3-and-D, got good size. Again, if he can be anything like his twin brother, watch out. Because now you start looking at the Portland Trailblazers, and you're like, Scoot Henderson, Simons, Chris Murray, you got Sharp. All you really need is kind of a young center, and now you got your young core going forward, right? And that would be really good for the Portland Trailblazers. And I really believe that Portland needs to go in that direction. They have such a good foundation and such a good sort of pool going forward. It would be foolish to start unloading these guys to try to get Damian Lillard, to maybe get a team that makes the playoffs and you don't win an NBA championship. They're not winning an NBA championship with Damian Lillard. As much as I would love to see Damian Lillard get a chip, it's not going to be with the Portland Trailblazers. Unless Joel Embiid ends up becoming available and they could sell the farm for Joel Embiid and pair Dame and Joel, then maybe they have a chance. But that's probably not happening. Like, unless a top three player becomes available, Damian Lillard isn't winning an NBA championship with the Portland Trailblazers. It's time to trade Damian Lillard. It is. It's time. And all the talk and all the rumors and everything like that were, as soon as they drafted Scoot Henderson, that's it. They're trading Damian Lillard. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that that's the case. Maybe Dame does stay, right? Maybe Dame goes, hey, I got a bunch of really good young guys. Maybe we can make the playoffs. And then who knows what happens. Maybe he looks at it like that. I think that would be foolish. I think that would be silly. But if that is the case, then I think you need to trade Simons, because now it kind of doesn't really make sense. Although you could have Simon as like the sixth man, but you might as well trade him and try to go get something that can come in and kind of play a more solid role, right? Somebody that could come in and add some value in a more impactful way for this roster. And then you hope Scoot Henderson can become like, rookie of the year level, where he's just, 15, 5-5 or something like that, or maybe 25-5, something crazy like that. If you can get something like that, then maybe you can at least make the playoffs and make some noise. But come on, like, they're not winning an NBA championship the way that the roster is currently constructed. And unless you get some big guy, then it's not happening. And I think the best course of action, trade Damian Lillard. Where do you want to go, dude? Like, what roster do you want to play for? What team do you want to play for? And just get whatever value you can for him, because you want to do right by Damian Lillard, right? You don't want to send him to Charlotte and, they trade, Brandon Miller and a bunch of just, PJ Wash and stuff like that. And now Portland, and now Dame's like, dude, I don't want to be here, right? And now you just look bad as an organization, right? You have the most loyal guy in your franchise history. You need to do right by him, right? You need, even if you have to trade him for peanuts, you got to. And to be fair, that's Portland's fault. They should have traded him already. Portland knew that they weren't building a contender around. Damian Lillard never once had a legit contender around him. I know he made it to the Western Conference Finals that one year, but come on. There was not a single person outside of maybe like some random Portland fans that believed that they had a real shot of winning a championship that year. Like, it just, they never put a real roster and team around Damian Lillard. They just didn't. It just, it was timing and all that's like, if Damian Lillard was drafted a couple years earlier, then maybe when you had Aldridge in his prime, and maybe you could have done something but it just, they never took that swing. It was always just minor moves, and they were just first, second round exit every year, and then they got to the point where they just weren't making the playoffs. And Damian Lillard, he's responsible to an extent. I don't put all the blame on Damian Lillard because, again, it's up to the organization to put the pieces around you, right? It's up to the organization to make the moves necessary to put you in a position for success. Portland never really did that. But I do blame Dame for, like, when they started blowing everything up, saying, trade me too. I get that he wanted to give them a chance, right? That was kind of the idea. Okay, we're gonna trade CJ, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, and we're gonna try to put a contender around you. As soon as they went and got and re-signed Nurkic and Jeremy Grant, and then that was basically it, I would have been like, all right, you need to trade me. Because you're not winning anything that way. Just not. Like maybe if they would have went and got like James Harden or something like that, maybe, just maybe, you could have justified, okay, like, all right, cool, maybe me, James Harden, get Jeremy Grant. All right, now we're starting to put together a real team here. Come on, dude. Like, at some point, you got to just say, all right, it's time for me to go. I think Dame should tell Portland, look, you got a great, solid young core. You're set up very nicely for the future, right? Go get some more assets. Go get some more pieces for me, and let's start over, right? You get to rebuild. Send me to Miami, right? Let me go try to win a championship. Let me go try to kind of reclaim my history here as a professional athlete while I still can, because Damian Lillard's only getting older. His clock is starting to wind down. He's already having injury issues. He's an undersized guard. It's just, he only has so much left. There's only so much more that he can do before, all right, like, that's it. So he really does need to go find a place that he can go to and contend for a championship. I think Miami makes a world of sense. I think you go get, whatever you can get from Miami. Could you get more from like a Knicks or something like that? Probably, right? Could you get more somewhere else? Probably. But again, you want to do right by Damian Lillard. Like, you don't want to send him somewhere that he doesn't want to go, or, is he open to several, like we heard the Nets, right? Like, could you trade him to the Nets for maybe some young pieces? Cool, right? Could you get some young kind of core pieces to add to your already young core? Like, that would be great, right? If he's open to some other options, right? Like, again, like if he's open to the Knicks, could you get like an RJ Barrett and, like a Grimes or something like that, to where starting to put some young pieces? Okay, cool. But I think Miami makes a lot of sense for Dame. I think Dame in Miami is like a match made in heaven. They were just in the NBA Finals. You have Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo. Damian Lillard gets to just be Damian Lillard, right? He doesn't have to do anything crazy. He doesn't have to do anything else, because you got Butler and Adebayo, who are both just grinders. They'll do all the dirty work. They play hard. They play defense. They're hard-nosed. Like, Miami needs that consistent go-to reliable scorer. Go get a package of like Tyler Hero, Jovic, and whatever else. Whatever else you could get. Probably got to take on like a Duncan Robinson or something like that to match salaries. But go get I'm telling you, Miami would probably give you whatever you want. Can you get Tyler Hero, Highsmith, and Jovic, and you're in business, right? Now you got 3 more young quality guys, a backcourt of Scoot Henderson and Tyler Hero, I think would be really solid. You have Simons still. You could still move Simons if you want to, and kind of have this just young quality core that you are lined up for the future. And then, because then at that point, you only need, out of all those guys, you only need 2 or 3 of them to be something. Scoot Henderson, in many people's eyes, is a lock to be that something, right? You got Tyler Hero, who could be a 25-point a game guy. So there you go. Now you got two guys, and then all you need is to find that third guy, whoever it is. Is it Chris? Is it Sharp? Whatever, right? And all of a sudden, in 3 years, you could be one of the better teams in the league. Miami, they get to go on the run. They get to keep kind of being this team that, like, every year they're in the conference finals or the NBA finals. They got the biggest need that they have on that roster in Damian Lillard. I just think it's a win-win. I think it's a match made in heaven. And I just genuinely believe that Miami should look to do that. I think Miami should go and trade whatever it takes outside of Butler and Bam Adebayo. Keep those two. Trade the rest of the roster if you have to. And go get Damian Lillard. And then if you're Portland, time to hit that reset button. It was fun while it lasted. Do right by Dame. And all is good. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you think it's time to trade him? Do you think it's not? How